The alien receptionist laughed so loudly that the echo filled the massive galactic embassy hall. Hundreds of alien eyes turned to stare. She leaned forward on her long, thin arms, her shimmering blue skin glowing under the hall lights, and pointed at the lone human standing at the counter. "Primitive," she said in a mocking tone, her voice carrying across the marble floor. "Look at your clothes, so simple. Look at your scars, so ugly. Are you lost, human?" The man did not answer. He was tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a dark jacket that seemed almost too plain for such a grand place. His boots were worn from long travel, and a faint scar ran from his left temple down across his cheek. His face was unreadable. He only stared at the receptionist with steady eyes, eyes that didn't blink. Her laughter grew louder. "Do you know where you are? This is the Galactic Embassy. The most powerful leaders in the galaxy meet here. This is not a place for backwater primitives from a little planet no one cares about." Around the hall, other aliens whispered. Tall, insect-like Vretan craned their thin necks to get a better look. Heavy-scaled Thork warriors chuckled deep in their throats. Small, glowing-tailed children pointed at the human and giggled. The receptionist stepped closer, lowering her voice so that only he could hear. "Go home, human. You do not belong here." But the man didn't leave. He simply reached into his jacket pocket and slowly placed a small black case on the counter. He pushed it toward her with 2 fingers. Her glowing eyes narrowed. "What is this? Do you think you can bribe me to let you in?" "How pathetic." The man finally spoke. His voice was calm, deep, and steady. "My name is Captain Rex Hawley of Earth Command. I am here to deliver this to the Galactic Council. You will take it to them now." The receptionist scoffed. "You? Deliver something to the council? Do you think they will waste their time on a human?" Rex Hale's expression did not change. "Open it," he said. She hesitated. There was something in his tone cold, firm, and dangerous that made her fingers twitch. Slowly, she pressed the side of the black case. It opened with a soft click, revealing a small, glowing data core. The core pulsed with red light. The receptionist frowned. "What is this? A toy? Take it to the council," Rex said again. His voice was like stone. Before she could respond, a deep voice called from across the hall. "What is going on here?" It was one of the guards, an 8-foot-tall armored Thork soldier. He stomped toward them, his heavy boots shaking the floor. The receptionist straightened quickly and held up the black case. "This human, he says he must deliver this to the council." The Thork soldier glared at Rex. "The council does not meet with humans," he growled. "Your species is young, weak. You have no seat here." Rex didn't move. He didn't even flinch under the guard's glowing red eyes. "You will take that data core to the council chambers," he said. "Right now. Or the galaxy will pay." "The price." The soldier's tail twitched in anger. "Are you threatening us, human?" Rex took one step forward, his voice lower now, almost a whisper. "I'm warning you, if you ignore this, your worlds will burn." The silence that followed was heavy. Even the whispering aliens nearby went quiet. For a brief moment, the soldier seemed uncertain. Then he snatched the case from the receptionist's hands. "Fine," he snapped. "But when the council refuses you, do not expect to leave this place unharmed." He turned and marched away, the black case glowing faintly in his massive hands. Receptionist leaned across the counter again, her voice dripping with mockery. "You think you are so important, human? You think the galaxy will care about your warnings? I hope the council throws you back out into the street." Rex met her eyes. "They can throw me out," he said. "But they won't be laughing when they see what's on that core." It took nearly an hour for the council to summon him. Rex stood alone in the waiting chamber, his hands clasped behind his back, while aliens from across the galaxy passed through the towering golden doors. Some glanced at him and sneered. Others didn't even bother to look. The doors finally opened for him. 2 guards escorted him inside the council chambers, a massive circular hall filled with shimmering lights, floating platforms, and hundreds of alien leaders seated in a ring high above the floor. At the center was the high chair, where the Supreme Chancellor of the Galactic Council sat, a towering, silver-skinned being known as Seralith. Her voice, when she spoke, was calm and sharp. "As glass, human," she said. "You have interrupted the council session. You have one chance to explain yourself." Rex stepped forward. "I am Captain Rex Hawley, Earth Command. I bring a warning." The Chancellor's glowing eyes narrowed. "A warning?" "Yes," Rex said. "Something is coming. Something that will destroy you all." A murmur rippled through the chamber. One of the council members, a scaled craft diplomat, leaned forward. "Empty words," he hissed. "What proof do you bring, human?" Rex gestured to the data core that had been placed on a platform in the center of the chamber. "It's all there. Play it." The core activated. A projection filled the chamber. Grainy footage of ships, massive, black, and angular, moving through the void of space. They moved silently, with unnatural precision. Then the image changed, showing a planet. A bright blue world. Vanishing in a flash of light, gasps filled the chamber. Council members leaned forward as more images appeared. Stations torn apart, fleets ripped to pieces, entire cities erased in seconds. "This is impossible," one alien muttered. "It's not possible," another shouted. "No fleet is that powerful." Rex's voice cut through the noise. "They are real. And they are coming." The Chancellor raised a hand for silence. "Where did you get this footage?" she demanded. "My people have been tracking them for months," Rex said. "We don't know who they are or where they came from. But we know one thing, they're already inside your borders." Laughter broke out from a few council members. One, a feathered mere diplomat, leaned forward and sneered. "Do you expect us to believe this? Humans barely out of their own star system now claim to know more than the entire Galactic Council?" Rex looked up at the mirror, his face cold. "Believe what you want, but every moment you waste, they are moving closer." The Chancellor's voice hardened. "And what do you expect from us, human? That we arm your primitive fleets? That we divert our forces based on fear? I expect you to take this seriously," Rex said. "If you don't, the galaxy will fall." But the Council did not take him seriously. For hours they argued. Some laughed. Others accused Earth of trying to gain power by spreading fear. One suggested that humans had fabricated the entire footage. Finally, the Chancellor rose. "The Council thanks you for your concern," she said. "But we have decided we will not divert resources for an unconfirmed threat. You are dismissed." Rex didn't move. "You're making a mistake," he said quietly. Guards stepped forward. "You will leave," the Chancellor said. "Now." The receptionist was waiting for him when he stepped out of the council chambers. She was smiling. "They threw you out, didn't they?" she asked. "Of course they did. No one believes humans. You're nothing to them." Rex stared at her for a long moment. Then he stepped closer. "When the screaming starts," he said, "remember this moment." Her smile faltered. What do you mean?" Rex didn't answer. He turned and walked out of the embassy, his boots echoing. On the marble floor, far from the embassy, in the cold darkness of space, an alien scout ship drifted near the galaxy's outer rim. Its crew had just detected strange energy readings. They were about to send a report back when the sensors went wild. "Something's here," the pilot whispered. The stars shifted. A shadow passed over them, blotting out the light. The crew barely had time to scream before their ship vanished in a silent flash of light. The Galactic Embassy was still buzzing with noise when Captain Rex Hawley stepped out into the streets of the station city. The massive towers of the galactic capital rose around him, shining with thousands of lights. Ships from hundreds of species moved above like glowing insects, engines humming softly in the distance. But Rex did not notice the beauty of the city. He only thought about what had just happened inside the council chamber. They had ignored him. He had shown them the evidence, given them the warning, and still they laughed. The alien receptionist's mocking voice still echoed in his mind. The smug faces of the council members flashed in his memory. And deep inside, Rex felt a cold anger building. He knew what was coming. He had seen it before. They hadn't. He kept walking, blending into the crowd of aliens. No one looked at him. Twice, humans were rare in the capital, and most who saw him assumed he was some minor envoy from a weak world. They didn't know the truth, but they would soon. Far above in the council chamber, the argument still continued. You saw the images. Hissed a craft diplomat, its scaled body coiled around the glowing platform. No fleet has such power. No one could erase planets like that. It must be a trick. Humans are known for fear tactics, agreed a mere delegate, her long feathers trembling. They have no seat on the council. Why should we believe them? Only. A few seemed uncertain. But what if he is right? Asked a small, translucent tail. If such a threat exists, there is no threat. The Chancellor's voice cut through the noise. The Council will not waste resources on rumors. We will not bow to fear. Back on the streets, Rex Halley entered a quiet alley and tapped the communicator on his wrist. This is Captain Halley, he said. His voice was calm, steady. A voice answered after a pause. We were listening, said Admiral Vance, the head of Earth Command. They ignored you. Yes, Rex said. They laughed. Then it begins, Vance replied grimly. Rex took a breath. What's the latest from the border? 2 more colonies went dark, the Admiral said. No survivors, no signals, just silence. Rex closed his eyes for a moment. We're running out of time. Agreed, Vance said. Get back to the rendezvous. We're moving ahead without the Council's help. Rex opened his eyes. Understood. He ended the transmission and looked back at the shining towers of the galactic capital. They thought they were safe. They thought the galaxy was too big to be threatened. They were wrong. Meanwhile, far from the capital, deep in the outer territories, the galaxy's most fortified border station floated near the edge of known space. It was called Bastion 9, a massive citadel bristling with weapons, defended by hundreds of warships, and armed with the best technology the Council could build. Inside the command center, the alien commander of the station was relaxed. Nothing gets past Bastion 9, he boasted to his crew. We are the wall that protects the galaxy. Moments later, alarms began to scream. Unidentified energy readings, shouted a sensor officer. It's huge, coming from the void. The commander turned sharply. Show me. The main screen lit up. Out in the dark, a shape was moving. Black, silent, larger than any ship they had ever seen. What is that? The commander whispered. The shape vanished from the screen. Sir, it's gone, the officer shouted. No, it's not, the commander said. He could feel it. The shadow was still there. A blinding flash erupted outside the station. And Bastion 9, the pride of the Galactic Council, was gone. The news reached the capital hours later. The council chamber erupted in panic. What do you mean Bastion 9 is gone? Screamed a Vretan diplomat. There was no warning. A guard shouted. The entire station and its fleet vanished from sensors in under 2 minutes. The Chancellor gripped the railing of her platform. Who attacked? Was it a rogue state? No, Chancellor, said the shaken guard. It was something else. Something we have never seen. A shiver went through the room. At that same moment, Rex Halley was aboard a small human stealth ship, heading for the rendezvous point. His communicator buzzed. Bastion 9 has been destroyed, Admiral Vance's voice said. Rex's hands tightened into fists. How many survivors? None. Rex stared at the stars outside the window. He had known it would happen. But hearing it still felt like a punch to the chest. "They'll listen now," he said quietly. "Maybe," Vance replied. "But by the time the council acts, it may be too late." In the galactic capital, the Chancellor called an emergency meeting. Every council member attended. Fear was in their voices now. The station was one of our strongest. A mere diplomat shouted, "How could anyone destroy it so fast?" "We have enemies we do not understand," the Chancellor admitted. "But we must act carefully." "Carefully?" Another shouted. "We need our fleets mobilized now." "We have to call the human back," someone muttered. "He warned us. He must know more." The Chancellor hesitated. She hated the idea of admitting they had been wrong. But she finally gave the order. "Find Captain Rex Hawley of Earth. Bring him back." But Rex Hawley was already gone. He had boarded the human flagship Resolute, a massive warship hidden in the shadow of a dead moon. Its dark hull reflected no light, making it invisible to most. Scanners dot as Rex stepped aboard. Crew members saluted. Admiral Vance was waiting for him in the command room. "The council is calling for you," Vance said. "I'm not answering," Rex replied. "They had their chance." Vance studied him. "Do you think they'll fight with us if we ask again?" "No," Rex said. "They're too afraid. They'll hesitate until it's too late." Vance nodded grimly. "Then we do this alone." On the other side of the galaxy, more reports poured in. Entire colonies were going dark, outposts destroyed. Fleets missing. One transmission made it through. The crew of a Thork battleship was screaming. "They're everywhere." The signal cut out. The enemy didn't leave survivors. The receptionist at the Galactic Embassy heard the rumors spreading through the capital. She laughed at first. "It's just propaganda," she told her co-workers. "The humans are trying to scare us." But later that night, she walked home through the city and noticed how quiet the streets had become. The bright towers didn't feel safe anymore. She remembered Rex Hale's cold eyes when he had spoken to her. "When the screaming starts," he had said, "remember this moment." A shiver ran down her spine. On board the Resolute, Rex Hawley stood on the bridge, watching the crew work. The ship's weapons were armed. The engines were ready. "Do we know where they'll strike next?" Rex asked. "We've tracked their movements," Admiral Vance said. "We think they'll hit the outer colonies in Sector 14 next." Rex nodded. "Then we'll be there waiting." The Resolute's engines roared to life. One by one, other human warships appeared from the shadow's smaller destroyers. Fast frigates, heavily armed carriers. A fleet of ghosts, ready for war. Back in the council chamber, the Chancellor slammed her fist on the platform. "We must act. Now. Every species must commit ships to defend the galaxy." But the council members were afraid. Some wanted to hide. Others wanted to defend only their own worlds. No one could agree. The galaxy was divided, and the enemy was coming down in the darkness beyond known space. The enemy ships moved in perfect silence. Black, angular, and merciless. They were not driven by hunger or greed. They had no emotions. They existed only to destroy. One of their scouts scanned the galaxy ahead. Billions of life forms. Millions of worlds. Targets on the bridge of the Resolute. Rex Hawley studied the holographic map of the galaxy. Dozens of systems were already marked as lost. He knew the humans could not save everyone, but they would try. "We'll make our stand." "Here," he told Admiral Vance, pointing to Sector 14. "If we hold them there, maybe the council will wake up." "And if they don't?" Vance asked. Rex's eyes were cold. "Then we fight alone." The receptionist lay awake in her apartment that night, unable to sleep. She looked out at the shining city, wondering how long it would last. She thought about the human again. The way he had spoken, as if he already knew the future. Maybe he had died in the void of space. The enemy fleet changed course. Their next target was chosen. A bright blue world with a thriving Population. One of the Council's core worlds. The night sky above the galactic capital was clear, filled with 1,000 glowing ships coming and going from the city's spaceports. Life in the city looked normal, but fear was spreading like an invisible storm. Rumors of destroyed stations and missing fleets had begun to circulate, but most citizens didn't believe them. They believed the Council would keep them safe. They believed nothing could reach the core worlds. They were wrong. On the bridge of the human flagship Resolute, Captain Rex Halley stood with Admiral Vance as holographic images flickered before them. One red marker after another appeared on the map of the galaxy. Lost worlds. Destroyed fleets. They're moving faster, Vance said, his face grim. They've taken 6 more systems in the last 24 hours, all gone without a trace. Rex stared at the map in silence. He could feel the crew watching him. They all knew he had warned the Galactic Council, and they all knew the Council had ignored him. How long until they hit Sector 14? Rex asked quietly. 2 days at most. Vance replied, maybe less. We're already en route. But we don't know how many enemy ships there will be. Rex turned toward the viewport. Stars shone brightly in the darkness. Somewhere out there, the enemy was already moving. Then we'll be ready, Rex said. Back in the galactic capital, the Chancellor sat alone in her office, watching a replay of the humans' warning. If you ignore this, your worlds will burn. She had dismissed him. She had dismissed all humans as weak and unimportant. Now reports of destruction were arriving faster every hour. Chancellor, said one of her advisors, entering the room. We've lost contact with Bastion 10. The Chancellor's head snapped up. Another station? Yes, the advisor said. It was destroyed. We still don't know how. The Chancellor stood slowly. Prepare the Council. We meet tonight. No more delays. But it was already too late. Far away, in Sector 14, the enemy fleet appeared without warning. Black shapes slid out of the void, hundreds of them. They moved in absolute silence, engines leaving no trace. Weapons ready. Their first target was a heavily populated world called Vera Prime. On Vera Prime, alarms began to scream across the planet. Civilians looked up at the sky as streaks of fire appeared in orbit. The planetary defense commander rushed into the control center. What's happening? He shouted, unknown ships. A technician cried. There are hundreds. We're being jammed. We can't contact the Council. The commander slammed his fist on the console. Get our defense fleets into position. Yes, sir. But even as the fleets scrambled to rise from the planet's surface, the enemy struck. From the black ships came beams of energy so powerful that they tore through planetary shields as if they didn't exist. Defense platforms exploded in seconds. Warships that had just launched were cut in half before they could even fire. One beam struck the main city, a metropolis filled with millions. The ground shook as towers collapsed. Fire consumed the streets. Commander watched in horror as the planet burned. Evacuate. Evacuate everyone you can. He screamed, but it was useless. On board the Resolute, the crew listened to the intercepted transmissions from Vera Prime. They're killing everyone. Our shields mean nothing. There's nowhere to hide. Then, only silence. The crew looked at Rex Halley. His jaw was tight, his fists clenched at his sides. Helm, he said softly. How long until we reach Vera Prime? 16 hours, the helmsman replied. Rex closed his eyes. 16 hours was too long. In the Galactic Council chamber, chaos erupted as news of Vera Prime reached them. They destroyed the entire planet. A delegate screamed, in less than 3 hours. The humans were right, another shouted. We should have listened. We must call for Earth's help immediately. The Chancellor slammed her hand on the platform. Enough. We will send every available fleet to Sector 14, now. But deep inside, she feared it was already too late. On Vera Prime, The last surviving soldiers fought desperately in the ruins of the capital city. Their weapons were useless against the enemy machines, black drones with razor-sharp limbs and glowing eyes. They're everywhere. One soldier cried as the machines closed in. The commander fired until his weapon overheated, then grabbed his communicator. If anyone is listening, this is Vera Prime. We can't hold. May the stars forgive us. The signal ended. The machines moved on. The Resolute dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Sector 14. The crew looked at the planet ahead. It was on fire. "Dear God," Admiral Vance whispered. "We're too late." "No," Rex said. "We're not leaving. We'll hit them now." "But Captain, there are hundreds of enemy ships," Vance warned. "We're outnumbered 10 to 1. "Then we hit them harder," Rex said. The human fleet surged forward. Dozens of ships broke formation, weapons armed. The Resolute's massive cannons glowed as they charged. "Target their largest ships first," Rex ordered. "Cut off their command nodes. If they can't coordinate, we have a chance." The first volley from the humans soared through the void. 2 enemy ships exploded instantly, fire and debris scattering into space. But the enemy responded. Black beams slashed through the human fleet, cutting destroyers in half. One carrier vanished in a ball of fire. Its escape pods vaporized before they could launch. Shields down on the Vanguard. A crew member shouted, "Get them out of there." Rex barked, but the Vanguard was already gone. The battle was brutal. Human ships dodged and weaved through the enemy lines, firing everything they had. Rex stood at the center of the bridge, giving orders calmly, even as the crew around him panicked. "Enemy drones are boarding the Aurora. Seal the hatches. The enemy is jamming communications. Use manual targeting." Rex shouted. For every enemy ship destroyed, 3 more took its place. Admiral Vance looked at Rex. "We can't win this." Rex's eyes were cold. "We're not here to win," he said. "We're here to slow them down, long enough for the Council to wake up." The Resolute's cannons fired again and again. One massive enemy cruiser exploded, breaking apart into 100 burning pieces. But then, a black beam struck the Resolute's side. Impact on Deck 4. A crew member screamed, "Fire control, now!" Rex ordered. Sparks flew across the bridge. The lights flickered. Shields at 30%. Rex gritted his teeth. "All power to weapons. We're not backing off." Back in the capital, the Chancellor received the first reports from Sector 14. "The humans are fighting alone," a messenger said. "They're holding the enemy back for now." The Chancellor felt shame burn inside her. She had mocked them, dismissed their warning. Now they were sacrificing their lives for the galaxy. "Send every ship we have," she ordered. "And pray we're not too late." On the Resolute, the battle raged on. The enemy began to change tactics, swarming the human ships with drones. One frigate was boarded, its crew slaughtered in minutes. "Keep firing." Rex shouted, "Don't give them an inch." A drone crashed. Through the bridge window, metal limbs slashing. Rex drew his sidearm and fired 3 shots into its glowing eye. The drone collapsed in a heap of sparks. "Seal the breach." He barked as crew members pulled him back. Hours passed. Human ships were being destroyed one by one. But they fought with a fury the enemy had never seen. "Enemy fleet slowing," the tactical officer reported. "They're regrouping." Rex saw his chance. Now, hit them with everything. The human fleet unleashed its full power. Torpedoes, railguns, and plasma beams filled the void. Several enemy ships exploded, breaking their formation. But the victory was brief. A black shape larger than any other emerged from the shadows. The enemy flagship. "Dear God," Admiral Vance whispered. "It's bigger than a moon." The flagship opened fire. A beam of energy so wide it could split a planet sliced through. The human fleet. 4 ships vanished instantly. The Resolute shook violently as shockwaves slammed into it. "We can't take another hit like that." The helmsman shouted. Rex gritted his teeth. "We have one chance. All ships, focus fire on the flagship. Bring it down." Every surviving human ship turned its weapons on the black giant. The void lit up with explosions and energy fire. The flagship's hull began to crack, but it was still moving. On the bridge of the Resolute, alarms screamed. Enemy drones boarding. Shields failing. Main cannon offline. Rex grabbed the "Come, all hands, prepare for impact. We're not done yet." In the capital, the Chancellor listened to the desperate transmissions from Sector 14. Enemy flagship. Unstoppable. Human fleet, down to half strength. Please send help. The Chancellor clenched her hands. "Faster," she told her fleets. "We must reach them faster." The Resolute's main cannon came back online. "Fire!" Rex shouted. The beam struck the enemy flagship dead center. The black hull cracked, then split apart in a massive explosion that shook the void. The crew cheered. But Rex didn't. He knew the battle wasn't over. More enemy ships were already arriving. Rex turned to Admiral Vance. "Signal the fleet. We hold this line as long as we can. No retreat." Vance nodded. The enemy surged forward again, and the human fleet charged to meet them. The black enemy flagship broke apart into 1,000 burning pieces. The explosion lit up the void, casting a pale light over the battlefield. But the moment of victory was short. Dozens of smaller enemy ships surged forward through the wreckage, firing at anything that moved. Human destroyers dodged and fired back, their weapons glowing bright as they fought to keep the line. On the bridge of the Resolute, alarms screamed. Sparks flew from damaged consoles, smoke filled the air, and crew members rushed to seal breaches. "Status!" Captain Rex Halley barked. "Shields at 20%. Shouted the tactical officer. "We've lost 3 more ships, and the rest of the fleet is barely holding together." Admiral Vance slammed his fist on the armrest of his chair. "We're outnumbered 10-1, Captain. We can't hold this much longer." Rex stared at the holographic display. Enemy ships were everywhere, closing in from all sides. He could see the red indicators for human ships winking out one by one. "We hold," Rex said. His voice was calm. "Cold. As long as we breathe, we hold this line." Far away in the galactic capital, the Chancellor paced the council chamber. She had been receiving updates from Sector 14 for hours. "The human fleet is still fighting," a messenger reported. "They've destroyed the enemy flagship, but they're losing." The Chancellor looked up at the circle of alien leaders. "We must send our fleets to Sector 14 now." "We've already mobilized," a Vretan general said, "but we will not arrive in time. The enemy will break through before we get there. Then the core worlds will fall," the Chancellor whispered. A mere diplomat leaned forward, feathers trembling. "This is our punishment. We ignored the humans. We mocked them. And now they fight alone while we hide behind debates." The Chancellor clenched her fists. "No, we will not hide. We will fight. And when we reach them, we will ask for their forgiveness." But the humans might not survive long enough to forgive anyone. On board the Resolute, enemy drones had breached the lower decks. Black, spider-like machines crawled through the corridors, slicing through doors with their glowing blades. "Deck 7 is lost," a soldier reported over comms. "We're sealing the bulkheads." "Hold your ground," Rex shouted. He grabbed a rifle from the weapons rack and led a small squad down to the lower decks. The ship shook violently as enemy fire struck its hull. Rex turned a corner and came face to face with 3 drones. Their glowing eyes locked onto him, and they lunged forward. He fired, his shots hitting the nearest drone's core. It exploded in a shower of sparks, but the other 2 kept coming. Rex ducked under a slashing blade and fired again, blowing the second drone apart. The third jumped at him. Rex grabbed a metal pipe from the wall and jammed it into the drones. Head, it screeched and convulsed, then collapsed. Clear. Rex called out. The soldiers behind him cheered quietly, but Rex didn't stop. He knew there were more drones on the ship. Back on the bridge, Admiral Vance received a transmission from one of the smaller human frigates. "This is the Falcon. We're out of ammo. We're going to ram them. Falcon, stand down." Vance ordered, but it was too late. The Falcon's engines flared as it accelerated toward a cluster of enemy ships. A moment later, the frigate exploded, taking 3 enemy ships with it. Brave fools. Vance muttered. Rex returned to the bridge, his uniform torn, a streak of blood across his cheek. He saw the Falcon's signal go dark on the display. "How many left?" he asked. 17 ships, including us." Vance replied. Rex looked at the remaining enemy fleet. There were still more than 100 black ships out there. "We can't win this battle," Vance said quietly. "I know," Rex said, "but we can buy time. We'll hold them here until the Council fleets arrive." "If they arrive," Vance muttered. In the galactic capital, the Council fleets were preparing to jump to Sector 14, but they were slow. It took time to gather so many ships from so many worlds. The receptionist who had once mocked Rex Hollis stood in the crowd of civilians watching the preparations. She could see the fear in everyone's eyes. "Do you think the humans can hold them?" someone asked. The receptionist didn't answer. She remembered the way Rex had looked at her in the embassy, the cold certainty in his voice. "When the screaming starts," he had said, "remember this moment." She was remembering it now. The Resolute shook violently as another beam of enemy fire struck its side. Consoles exploded, and a crew member was thrown across the bridge. "Hull breach on Deck 9. Someone shouted. Rex grabbed the com. "All hands, abandon Deck 9. Seal it off." The crew moved with practiced efficiency, but they were exhausted. Many had not slept in days. "Admiral." Vance walked over to Rex. "Captain, we can't keep this up. We need to retreat." Rex shook his head. "There's nowhere to retreat to. If we fall back, the enemy will push straight into the core worlds. Millions will die. Millions are already dying." Vance snapped. Rex turned to face him. "And we will die too, but not yet. Not while. We can still fight." Then, a message came through on a secure channel. It was from Earth Command. "Captain Hale," the voice said, "you are authorized to activate Project Blackstar." Rex's eyes widened slightly. "Are you sure?" "Yes," the voice said. "It's time the galaxy knows the truth." Rex nodded slowly. "Understood." He turned to Vance. "We're going to the vault." The vault was hidden deep inside the Resolute, behind layers of security. Only a handful of people in the galaxy even knew it existed. Rex placed his palm on the scanner. "Captain Rex Hale, authorization Blackstar." The door opened, revealing a massive chamber filled with sealed containers. In the center was a single device. Vance stared at it in silence. "We're really going to use this?" Rex looked at the device. It was small, unassuming, but its core glowed with a dangerous energy. "We have no choice," Rex said. Minutes later, the Resolute broke away from the main human fleet and moved straight toward the largest enemy cluster. The crew didn't understand what was happening. "Captain, we can't take them head on," the helmsman shouted. "We're not going to fight them," Rex said. "We're going to show them humanity's secret." He activated the device. A deep hum filled the ship as energy built up around the Resolute. Enemy ships detected the power surge and turned to face it. Beams of black energy lashed out, striking the Resolute's shields, but the ship kept going. 30 seconds. Vance shouted. "Hold steady," Rex ordered. The device reached full charge. "Now!" Rex shouted. A pulse of energy exploded outward from the Resolute. It was silent, invisible to the naked eye, but its effects were immediate. Enemy ships froze, their weapons shut down. Their engines died. One by one, they began to fall apart, their black holes crumbling as if they were being ripped apart from the inside. The humans watched in stunned silence as the entire enemy fleet disintegrated around them. What was that? Someone whispered. Rex looked at the crew. That, he said, was why humanity survived the last war. On the Council's long-range scanners, the enemy fleet suddenly vanished. The Council fleets were still hours away, but the humans had done the impossible. They destroyed them, the Chancellor said, her voice filled with awe. The humans destroyed them all. The mere diplomat shook her head. How? What kind of weapon could do that? The Chancellor stared at the holographic display. We underestimated them all this time. We never understood how dangerous humans really are. Back on the Resolute, the crew was silent. The battlefield was littered with debris, but for the first time, there were no enemy ships closing in. Admiral Vance exhaled slowly. It's over. No, Rex said. This was just one battle. They'll be back. But the Council fleets will arrive soon, Vance said. They'll see what we can do. They'll have to take us seriously now. Rex looked out at the stars. Let's hope so. In the galactic capital, the Council fleets finally jumped into Sector 14. They found the human fleet battered but alive. The Chancellor ordered an immediate transmission to the Resolute. Captain Hale, she said, this is the Galactic Council. We owe you our lives, please. Allow us to assist you. Rex listened in silence. The receptionist's face flashed in his memory. The laughter. The mocking. Send your repair crews, he said finally. We'll talk when we're ready. The receptionist stood among the civilians in the capital, watching the news broadcast. The humans had saved the galaxy's core worlds. She remembered the way she had laughed at Rex Hale. Now, no one was laughing. The skies above the galactic capital had dimmed. The once shining stars were now shadowed by the thick fleets gathering in space. The Council fleets had arrived at last, but their arrival brought no comfort. The threat was far from over. Humanity had shown its secret power, and for the first time, many began to believe. But belief was not enough. Captain Rex Hale stood on the bridge of the Resolute, watching the huge Council fleet move into formation. His ship was battered and scarred, but it still flew strong. Around him, the crew worked quietly. They were tired, but ready. We have to strike fast, Rex told Admiral Vance. The enemy won't wait. Vance nodded grimly. We can't let them reach the core worlds again. Far away, the enemy fleet was not beaten. Though shattered, it was rebuilding with terrifying speed. New black ships poured out of dark nebulae and hidden bases. They were coming back stronger and more aggressive. Their next target was clear. The thriving world of Serenthia. It was one of the oldest member worlds of the Galactic Council, rich in resources and culture. On Serenthia, the people lived in peace, unaware of the danger closing in. Children played in the parks, markets bustled with life, and sky cars flew smoothly between towers. The planet was alive with hope. But that hope would soon be shattered. The enemy arrived like a shadow over Serenthia's sun. Ships black as night appeared suddenly in orbit, their weapons aimed directly at the planet cities. The planetary defense system scrambled to react. Unknown fleet entering orbit. The alarm blared. Commander Orlin of the Serenthian Defense Corps stood before the main console. His face was pale but determined. We must defend our home, he said. Send all ships to engage. The battle began with a roar. Defense fighters launched from the surface, weaving through enemy fire. Serenthian warships joined the fight, their beams lighting up the dark sky. But the enemy had learned. Their weapons cut through shields faster than ever before. Serenthian ships exploded one by one. On the Resolute, Rex and his crew tracked the battle. They're outmatched, Rex said, biting his lip. We're still rebuilding. We can't send reinforcements yet. Vance stared at the map. If Serenthia falls, the Council's morale will break. It might be the end of everything. Rex clenched his fists. We'll help, we have to. The battle over Serenthia grew worse. Enemy bombers slipped past the outer defenses, dropping powerful charges on cities below. Fire and smoke rose into the atmosphere as buildings crumbled. Citizens screamed and ran for shelters. The once vibrant planet was turning into a war zone. Commander Orlan fought with all his might. He led sorties against the enemy fleet, but his forces were no match. We're losing ships faster than we can replace them, his second-in-command reported. Orlan's face was hard. Then we fight until the last ship falls. Back in the capital, the Council leaders watched the destruction in horror. We must send our entire fleet, the Chancellor said. No more delays, but the Council was divided. Some worlds wanted to save themselves first. Others refused to send ships to distant battles. The enemy was breaking their unity, just as they planned. Rex knew this. The Council's weakness was their greatest danger. He turned to Vance. If the Council won't unite, we have to do it ourselves. Vance looked doubtful. How? The Council controls most fleets. We'll show them what happens when worlds fall, Rex said. That will force their hand. As Serenthia burned, more worlds fell. The colony world of Greveles was overrun in hours. Communications went silent. On the desert world of Jara, the enemy's shadow crawled across the dunes, crushing resistance beneath ruthless machines. Every loss was a blow to the galaxy's hope. Rex's ship moved toward Serenthia. We can't save the whole galaxy, he told his crew. But we can save one world. The Resolute dropped out of hyperspace over Serenthia's orbit. Flames and smoke rose from the planet's surface. On the planet, Commander Orlan watched the sky grow dark with enemy fighters. Suddenly, a new fleet appeared. Sleek ships with the blue and white colors of Earth. The humans had arrived. The battle shifted. Human warships moved with precision and speed, their weapons tearing through the enemy lines. The enemy faltered. Their formations broke as humans targeted command ships and supply lines. On the Resolute, Rex directed the battle. Focus on enemy supply ships, he ordered. Cut off their fuel and ammo. The crew responded quickly. Torpedoes streaked through space, hitting supply vessels. The enemy's strength began to weaken, but the enemy was desperate. They launched kamikaze attacks against the humans. Black drones flew straight into human ships, exploding on impact. Human frigate, the Phoenix, was hit hard. Flames engulfed its side as crew members fought fires. Admiral Vance stared at the damage reports. We're losing ships fast. If this continues, we won't hold Serenthia. Rex clenched his jaw. Then we fight harder. In the council chamber, the Chancellor stood before the divided leaders. The humans have saved Serenthia, she said. But if we do not stand united, the next world to fall may be ours. Her voice was strong, but many delegates whispered doubts. On Serenthia, civilians fled to shelters as enemy ground forces landed. Machines rolled through the streets, tearing down buildings and hunting survivors. Commander Orlan organized resistance. Fighters, we won't let them take our home, he said. The humans landed troops to support the defenders. Rex led the ground forces, walking through the ruins of a once beautiful city. Stay alert, he warned his soldiers. The enemy is ruthless. The battle on the ground was brutal. Enemy machines attacked in waves, forcing the humans and Serenthians to fight side by side. Explosions shook the streets. Rex fired his rifle, taking down a machine before it could reach a group of civilians. Night fell, but the fighting did not stop. Rex and his soldiers dug in, preparing for the enemy's next attack. We hold this line, Rex said. No retreat. In the sky, the human and council fleets fought on. The enemy fleet was broken, but still dangerous. The battle for Serenthia was far from over. Rex looked out at the burning city. This is only the beginning, he said. The fall of worlds had begun. The galactic capital was tense. Every corner of the city hummed with whispers and fear. The council chambers, usually calm and formal, were now filled with shouting, urgent debates, and cold glances. The enemy had not stopped. More worlds were falling, more colonies vanished. The galaxy's strongest fleets fought hard, but they fought alone or in small groups, never united. The council had to decide. Inside the chamber, the chancellor stood tall, but her face was tired. Years of leadership weighed on her. Her voice echoed over the crowd of delegates. "We face a threat unlike any before," she said. "Our fleets are scattered. Our worlds fall one by one. We cannot fight divided." A murmur passed through the chamber. "We must unite," she continued. "Put aside old rivalries and fight as one. Only together can we survive." The Vretan ambassador shook his scaled head. "We have heard your words before, Chancellor. But when the time came, some worlds refused to send ships. Others hid behind empty promises." The mere delegate nodded. "Why should we risk everything for humans? They keep their secrets and fight alone." The Chancellor's eyes narrowed. "Humans have saved Serenthia. They fight harder than any other. Without them, we would have lost already." Suddenly, a message arrived. The hall quieted as the messenger spoke. "Chancellor, the human fleet reports another enemy fleet gathering near the outer rim. Their numbers are growing." A gasp rose from the delegates. The enemy was rebuilding fast. The Chancellor took a deep breath. "We must act now." Rex Hawley watched the Council's broadcasts from the Resolute. He could see the divisions, the fear, the doubts. "They hesitate," he told Admiral Vance. "They don't understand what's coming." Vance nodded. "We must show them the cost of waiting." Rex clenched his fists. "Then we will make them see." The human fleet prepared to strike again. They could not wait for the Council's full support. "We take the fight to the enemy," Rex said. "No more waiting." The crew worked swiftly, loading weapons and readying the ships not far from the capital. The enemy was gathering forces. New ships emerged from dark nebulae, joined by old war machines rebuilt stronger. Their commander, a tall figure in dark armor, watched the preparations. "The humans are bold," he said, voice cold. "They will die for their arrogance." The human fleet jumped into the outer rim, striking the enemy fleet by surprise. The battle was fierce. Lasers and missiles lit up the void. Ships exploded in fireballs. Rex directed the attack with calm precision. "We hit their engines," he ordered. "Cut off their retreat." The enemy fought hard. Their fighters swarmed the humans, and large warships fired devastating blasts. One human destroyer was hit hard and lost control. "Brace for impact," the captain shouted. The ship crashed into an asteroid field, breaking apart. Rex gritted his teeth. "We can't afford losses like this." Admiral Vance said, "We have to pull back." "No," Rex said. "We keep pressing. The Council must see our strength." Back in the capital, the Council watched the battle unfold. "Look at their courage," the Chancellor said. "They fight even when outnumbered." "But what of our fleets?" a delegate asked. "We have too many worlds to protect." The Chancellor answered, "Then we fight together. No world is safe alone." The battle raged for hours. The humans fought fiercely, but the enemy's numbers were overwhelming. The Resolute was hit again. Sparks flew, and the ship shook violently. "We need reinforcements." Rex shouted. Suddenly, Council fleets began arriving. Their ships formed around the human fleet, adding firepower and support. The enemy faltered. The Vretan flagship opened fire, targeting the enemy command ship. The battle turned. The enemy commander watched his fleet crumble. "We must retreat," he ordered. But the humans and Council fleets pressed harder. The enemy ships fled into the darkness. The battle was won. Back in the Council chamber, the mood had changed. The Chancellor spoke with new strength. "We are united. We fight as one, delegates." Nodded. Hope returning. Rex listened to the news. The council had finally made their decision, but he knew the war was far from over. We have made a start, Rex told his crew, but the enemy will return. In the silence of space, the enemy regrouped. Their commander's eyes burned with hate. This is only the beginning, he said. The galaxy had changed. The council was finally united. Its fleets were stronger than ever before, and hope had returned to the people. But hope was fragile like glass. Everyone knew the enemy was coming back, and this time it would be for everything. Captain Rex Hawley stood on the bridge of the Resolute, staring at the holographic map. Red markers covered the outer rim, spreading toward the core worlds like a growing infection. Admiral Vance approached him quietly. Our scouts report the enemy fleet is gathering near the Epsilon Rift, he said. It's bigger than anything we've faced. Hundreds of ships, maybe thousands, Rex's jaw tightened. And they're moving straight for the core worlds. Vance nodded grimly. This will be the final battle. The council fleets were already mobilizing. Dozens of species sent their best warships. Massive carriers, nimble fighters, and heavily armed cruisers formed an armada like the galaxy had never seen before. But even as the fleets gathered, whispers of fear spread. What if the human's weapon doesn't work again? What if we lose? What if this is the end? Rex heard these whispers everywhere he went, but he said nothing. He knew fear was natural. He felt it too. In the council chamber, the Chancellor addressed the galaxy. We stand on the edge of extinction, she said, her voice echoing through the vast hall. But we are no longer divided. We fight together now. And together we will survive. The speech was broadcast to every world, every fleet, every soldier preparing for battle. On board the Resolute, Rex gathered his crew. They were tired but ready. This is the last stand, he said. If we fall, the enemy will destroy everything we love. But we are not going to fall. We will hold the line. We will fight until the last ship, the last soldier, the last breath. Do you understand? Yes, sir. The crew shouted in unison. The fleets moved toward the Epsilon Rift. The Rift was a dangerous place, an unstable region of space filled with debris, black holes, and deadly radiation. But it was the enemy's stronghold. We can't avoid fighting. Here, Vance said. This is where they're hiding, Rex nodded. Then we'll fight on their ground. The enemy was waiting. As the United Fleet approached, thousands of black ships emerged from the shadows. Their weapons glowed with deadly energy, and their engines roared like thunder. Rex felt the tension in his chest. Here they come, he said quietly. The battle began. Energy beams, torpedoes, and missiles filled the void. Explosions lit up the dark rift like stars being born and dying in an instant. Human and council ships fought side by side, weaving through the enemy formations. Target their command ships, Rex ordered. Cut off their coordination. The enemy fought with unmatched ferocity. Their massive warships blasted through council cruisers, tearing them apart with ease. Drones swarmed like insects, latching onto ships and slicing into their hulls. One council carrier exploded, taking thousands of soldiers with it. The losses mounted quickly. Admiral Vance shouted over the comms. We're losing too many ships. We can't hold, we hold, Rex said firmly. We have no choice. On the enemy flagship, their commander watched the destruction with cold satisfaction. The humans are dangerous, he said, but they will break, like all the others. Back. On the Resolute, alarms blared. Enemy drones boarding. A crew member shouted. Rex grabbed his rifle and led a squad to repel the intruders. The drones burst through the bulkheads, their glowing eyes scanning for targets. Rex fired, dropping one drone, then ducked as another slashed at him with its razor. Limbs, hold them back, he shouted. The crew fought fiercely in the corridors, using everything they had: rifles, grenades, even makeshift weapons. But the battle outside was getting worse. Council fleets were being pushed back. Entire sectors of the formation were collapsing. Admiral Vance looked at Rex. "We need Black Star," he said. Rex shook his head. "We used it once. If we use it again, we could destroy ourselves." "Then we'll all die anyway," Vance said. Rex hesitated, then nodded. "Prepare the device." The crew moved quickly. The Black Star device was brought from the vault and installed in the Resolute's core. "We only get one shot," the engineer warned. Rex knew that. "Wait for my order." The enemy closed in on the flagship. "We're surrounded." A crew member shouted. Rex took a deep breath. "All ships, fall back behind the Resolute. We're about to clear the field." The enemy saw the maneuver and pressed forward, confident they had the humans trapped. Rex waited. 5 seconds. The engineer counted. 3, 2, now. Rex shouted. The Black Star device activated. A silent wave of energy exploded. From the Resolute, tearing through enemy ships like paper, drones froze in place. Warships cracked apart. The enemy formation disintegrated. Cheers erupted across the fleet, but Rex didn't celebrate. He saw something the others didn't. The enemy flagship had survived. Its massive black hull glowed with strange energy, shielding it from the blast. "It's still coming," Vance shouted. The enemy flagship charged directly at the human and Council fleets. "Target that ship with everything we have," Rex ordered. Dozens of ships opened fire, but the flagship kept advancing, its weapons tearing through their lines. One blast destroyed 3 Council cruisers in a single shot. Rex knew they couldn't stop it with firepower alone. He looked at Vance. "We're going to ram it." Vance's eyes widened. "That's suicide," Rex nodded. "If we don't, it'll destroy everyone else. Get the crew to the escape pods." "Now." The crew hesitated, but Rex's voice left no room for argument. "Go, that's an order." One by one, the crew left their stations, heading for the pods. Vance stayed. "I'm not leaving you, Rex." Rex gave a small smile. "I knew you'd say that." The Resolute turned toward the enemy flagship, engines burning at full power. The enemy fired everything they had, but the human ship kept coming, shields failing, hull breaking apart. Rex stayed at the helm, guiding the ship closer. At the last moment, he activated the Black Star device again, overloading its core. The explosion was blinding. The Resolute collided with the enemy flagship, and the Black Star's energy tore through both ships. The enemy flagship shattered. The remaining enemy ships broke apart in shockwaves, their formations collapsing completely. The battle was over. Council fleets searched the wreckage for survivors. Admiral Vance's escape pod was found, but Rex Holly was gone. The Chancellor spoke to the galaxy. "Today, we are alive because of the humans," she said. "Because of Captain Rex Hawley. He gave his life so that we might have a future." The galaxy mourned. But they also stood united. In the dark corners of space, fragments of enemy ships drifted silently, but deep in the shadows, a signal pulsed. The enemy was not finished. The end.